Right, so I'm just going to create a camera from my point of view here. I'm going to press Control and click on the camera, and that will drop a camera here for me. From my point of view, you can copy the parameter, the values there if you like. And yeah, the reason I'm doing that now is because we're going to use the camera to kind of cut our geometry in a moment, right? So let's change this to import geo. Let's make, I'm going to turn off the visualizer to this because it's quite a big thing, and you know, can slow everything down a bit. Let's make another geo, and I'm going to call this let's call it main RBD. So in here we're going to build the, we're going to fracture the geometry and simulate it as well, and then we'll have a separate one for the debris and a separate one for the pyro as well. So let's dive inside here, and first let's just actually build that floor. So we just need a very simple box. Okay, maybe we will ghost other objects and turn this on so we can actually see, the size of the box that we need. So this is going to be our floor that we're actually going to fracture, right? So I'm going to do 70 by 70. Okay, so just so it fills my camera, and I'm going to do it 0.75 for the thickness. So make sure you're not you've never got this checked once you make your camera, because it will move the camera, right? So I'm going to do it, sorry, not 1.75, 0.75. So this thickness is important because we're going to actually see, that's going to be fractured. So, and the thicker it is, the more information, the more space we need to hold that information. And, we're going to be using up a lot of RAM and space on our hard disk. All right. So, we've got that. We also need to have it in the correct position. So as I said before, if we go to spacebar and 3, this needs to be there on the ground. So if we take this, copy that parameter, paste relative references there. So that gives me this 0.75 there. So that's no good yet. It's clicking there, by the way, to see the value. There's minus, I will bring it down, but then that's too far, and then I just multiply it by half. We'll drop it right on the on the ground for me. Perfect. So now if I want to change the height, the size of it in Y, then it won't matter too much. It will procedurally keep it on the ground. Now, and we also need some divisions. So we need a polygon mesh. And I'm gonna give myself 100 by 100 and just 2 in the Y. Okay, so we're gonna cut a shape out of this. Now I'm gonna bring in the city. We can turn off the visualization for that, and then just grab that out for the city. Okay, and then I'm going to select these 4 kind of ground pieces. If I try and just come in here and just grab that bit there, remember to hold shift when you're clicking so you don't lose your selections. Then press delete on my keyboard. Great, and then delete non-selected just to isolate them. Okay, and now I want to make them very tall. I'm going to use this as a cutting geometry. So in my scale, I'm going to make these just really tall like that. Okay, and we need, so this is still packed geometry, right? So we've just got the 4 points there. So I want to boolean this box, right? So we need to convert it back into normal geometry. You could unpack it also, it doesn't matter. And then just drop a boolean sop. So that's what I'm going to cut out, geometry A, which is solid. Both are solid actually in this case. And this is my geometry B, as you can see there. Okay, this part. And I want to subtract, so it's all set up by default to work. And there we go. So that kind of chops out my road nice and neatly. Okay, and so what I also want to do is, so there's going to be a bit of this geometry is going to be out of the field of view of the camera. See, so like this part here, a lot here, here, to the right, left, and at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is drop a volume. Okay, and what we can do is generate a volume from the camera. So we come here, find our camera, and then if we visualize that and then come out of the camera, I won't see anything yet, but then if I put this to 100, still don't see anything for the moment. Let me see why. Right, so to visualize that, if we come into the properties, change it to SDF. So we want an SDF volume, which is basically a value of either 1 or 0, okay, to tell us the where the volume is or isn't, just like yes or no. And then display, if we turn this to ISO surface, okay, so there we can see what we're getting. So the camera's here and we're projecting a volume out from that. So what we want to do is use that to clip this geometry, and just to be safe, so now it's going to be perfectly aligned with the point of view of the camera, right? So it's there, and then as soon as I move out of it, you can see it comes out. So what I want to do is give us some padding just to be safe. So yeah, in the camera, if you look here, we got these values which we can use for some padding. So I'm just going to go down 0.1 in the X, so in each direction basically, 0.1 there, down 0.1 in Y, and up 0.1 in Y as well. So that should be fine as it is. And now if we come into here, we make a group, make this a point group. I'm just going to call this delete me, because I'm going to delete it straight away. Connect in the volume there. And then if we go to, delete by keep in bounding regions, bounding volume, points of vertices only. And then we need to just set this ISO surface to 1. Hopefully that will show us our selection. There we go. And then you can see it's selecting the inside there. We can just, well, we can either delete non-selected or just invert it, and that will select everything outside. And then just drop a delete. Okay, and set this to points. Delete that group. Let's see, we've got all these funny, let me see, I could just copy and paste that. Instead of trying to find it, there we go, turn off that template. And just one more thing we need to do, so we've got a hole here on the side now. Let's do delete camera, what's it called, frustum, I think it's called, this, you know, doing this process. I think it's frustum or frustrum, I'm not sure. And then a polyfill to fill the holes at the side there. We need a solid geometry definitely for you know, for setting up our fracture. I'm just gonna do triangles here. There we go. So that's pretty much ready to set up our fracture on now.